gathering of systems and practices. It is a gathering of much more, of knowledge, keepers, innovators, scientists, ministers, indigenous leaders, and global partners, united by a shared purpose. So on behalf of the World Health Organization and the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, I, Rini Simon Khanna, warmly welcome all of you, and we have with us the Honorable Minister of Health, Government of India, Shri J.P. Nadda, who joins us, as do other guests. Welcome to the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a global movement dedicated to restoring balance for people and the planet. I'd like to now invite ministers from South Africa and India to be seated up on stage. We're honored to be joined by Shri J.P. Nadda, Honorable Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, Shri Pratap Rao Jadhav, Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge for Ayush, Government of India, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, the Honorable Minister of Health from South Africa, the Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Mr. Rajesh Kotecha, Dr. Katharina Boime, the officer in charge of CIERO, Dr. Shama Kuravilla, Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. May I now invite, from the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, the host country of second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine, the Secretary Ayush, Dr. Rajesh Kotecha, to please welcome our respected delegates.
Thank you. Excellencies, Sri J.P. Nadda ji, Honorable Union Health Minister, Sri Pratap Rao Jadhav ji, Honorable Minister of State for Ayush and Minister of State of Health, Government of India, Excellency, Sri Aaron Motsoaledi, Minister of Health, South Africa, Excellency, Dr. Sudha Sharma, Dr. Catherine Boehm, Senior Advisor to the DG and WHO in charge CIERO at Delhi, Honorable Ministers from 23 countries, distinguished representatives of the World Health Organization, esteemed members of Summit Steering Committee, representatives of indigenous peoples, distinguished delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and privilege to warmly welcome you all to the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine here at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. On behalf of the Government of the Republic of India, this summit is jointly hosted by WHO and Ministry of Ayush. We all know, and I'm very happy to share, Honorable Minister Sir, that 100+ countries are represented into this summit. There are 170+ expert speakers came from all over the globe. As I mentioned, there are 23 honorable health ministers, they have arrived, 25+ sessions, 21 selected innovators arrived from all over the globe, and it is being represented by all 6 WHO regions. So this is very, very privileged event. We gather here today building on the resounding global success of the first WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine held in Gandhinagar, Gujarat in 2023. That historic summit culminated in the Gujarat Declaration, which provided a clear global direction for traditional medicine grounded in science, sustainability, equity, and respect for diverse knowledge systems. It is heartening to see that the global community has come together once again, reaffirming that shared vision and collective momentum. India is humbled to host this continuing global journey. For centuries, traditional medicine has been an integral part of daily life in this country, shaped by a deep understanding of balance between human beings and nature, prevention and care, knowledge and practice. Today, India's role is not merely that of a host nation, but of a partner committed to strengthening global traditional medicine governance through collaboration with WHO and other member states. In this context, the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center at Jamnagar, Gujarat, holds special significance established in India and established in partnership with WHO. GTMC has emerged as a global hub for policy development, evidence generation, research collaboration, digital innovation, and knowledge exchange in traditional medicine. From Jamnagar, India is proud to support a truly global movement that serves all regions and all systems of traditional medicine. Guided by the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Strategy 25 to 34, this summit aims to advance a global movement to restore balance for people and planet, grounded in the science and practice of traditional medicine. Over the next 3 days, discussions will focus on various themes around strengthening, regulation, and integration into health systems, safeguarding biodiversity and intellectual property to enable equitable access and benefit sharing, and harnessing the transformative potential of frontier technologies, including artificial intelligence and genomics. We are also pleased to host the Traditional Medicine Discovery Experience, offering participants an opportunity to engage firsthand with global best practices and living traditions, complementing policy dialogue with experiential learning. This summit is being held in the spirit of continuity and commitment. At the groundbreaking ceremony of the Global Traditional Medicine Center at Jamnagar, the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, expressed his wish that this global summit be convened every 2 years. It is therefore especially meaningful that we are gathered here again, carrying forward that vision and deepening global cooperation. Looking ahead, the Ministerial Roundtable, scheduled on 19 December 2025, is poised to play a crucial role in fostering stronger collaboration among countries and shaping better, more coherent policy outcomes for the integration of traditional medicine within national health systems. This opening session has been carefully designed to set the tone for the days ahead, anchored in the theme of restoring balance, a concept that lies at the very heart of traditional medicine and speaks powerfully to today's global health and planetary challenges. As we begin, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each one of you to New Delhi and to this shared global platform for dialogue, trust and partnership. I am confident that these 3 days will be a true feast of knowledge exchange, learning, and mutual inspiration. I would also like to warmly invite you to a special side event hosted by the Ministry of Ayush Government of India today from 5 onwards at the same plenary hall, focusing on Ashwagandha. In addition, you are also most welcome to join us tomorrow from 7 p.m. onwards for a cultural evening featuring a performance by 3-time Grammy Award winner and Padma Shri awardee Sri Ricky Cage and his team, followed by a networking dinner graciously hosted by our Honorable Minister Sri Prataparao Jadhav. There is another information I want to share, that Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences is also conducting a survey to explore research opportunities and networking among the delegates attending the summit. They will share a link on your email. I would request you to participate into this survey. And we look forward to the below proceedings of the summit. We are deeply honored that the Honorable Prime Minister of India will grace the closing ceremony on this event on 19th December at 4:30 p.m. I invite you all to join when our Honorable Prime Minister come for this event at the closing ceremony. Thank you, and I wish all the successful and inspiring second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, sir. We're now joined by the two distinguished co-chairs of this summit who will extend a warm welcome on behalf of the Summit Steering Committee. I'd like to invite both the co-chairs to the stage to deliver their joint welcome. Dr. Goh Cheng Soon of Malaysia and Professor Motlalepula Matsabisa of South Africa.
Honorable Minister, Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. Namaste. Representing the Traditional Medicine Global Summit Steering Committee, I, Dr. Goh Cheng Soon from Malaysia.
And myself, Professor Motlalepula Matsabisa from South Africa.
As co-chair, would like to convey greetings to everybody on behalf of the Traditional Medicines Global Summit Steering Committee.
I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the Steering Committee to you. The Steering Committee is composed of experts from all around the world to ensure inclusivity, and you could see them on the screen. May I ask the Steering Committee please to stand up? Thank you.
The second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicines has the theme of restoring balance, the science and practice of health and well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, the balance has become the global norm, and hence, restoring well-being and balance must now become the guiding principles for global health action. Through linking the knowledge of traditional practices to scientific advances would enhance health and well-being and restore balance. WHO member states are encouraged to respect the health of all our planet and align with the visions of the WHO Global Strategy for Traditional Medicines 2025 and 2034. Facilitating the transformations of primary health care towards realizing universal health coverage, UHC, and 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, so that no one will be left behind. Everyone has equitable access to safe, effective, and people-centered traditional complementary integrative medicine, TCIM, for the health and well-being of all.
In order to accelerate the achievement of these goals, the following areas of work were proposed by the Traditional Medicines Global Summit Steering Committee as follows. One, it is to reorient health systems towards prevention and empower communities who are the foundation of universal health. Two, to develop a global framework on regulating traditional complementary and integrative medicine practices and products, identify best practice models for integration, introduce a common foundational global medical degree program with structured pathways, have a multi-center or a cross-sector collaborative studies and promote the use of TCIM, evidence-based practices. 6, to promote inclusive dialogue to improve mutual understanding, design and implement national action plans which align with global framework goals, to leverage digital innovations, document TCIM knowledge, and ensure adequate, equitable resourcing. 11, to engage corporates, investment and support financially or otherwise the traditional medicines. And lastly, to look after and take care of our biodiversity for its sustainability. Following the WHO Global Summit, the Steering Committee hopes that the WHO Global Strategy 2025-2030 could be implemented by all member states, and the outcomes of the summit could be brought back for strategic planning and actioning. I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Go and Professor Matsabisa. I'd like to now invite to present an overview of the summit program, the co-organizer of the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine. From WHO, Dr. Shama Kuruvilla, Director AI, WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center. This is forward.
Thank you.
You don't need to go back, but forward.
Honorable Chief Guest, Minister Nadda, Honorable Minister Jadhav, Honorable Minister Motsaledi, Excellencies, to all the honorable ministers, the dignitaries, to all my colleagues, friends, and actually what has become the global traditional medicine family over the past 2 years, welcome. It is my honor, actually on behalf of all of you who have co-created this program, to give an overview of the Global Summit. If we can. The first question we're often asked is, why are we all here? And there is one single fact that's brought us all together, and that is that traditional medicine is a global reality, and there is growing demand for it. For millions of people around the world, traditional medicine is their only access to healthcare, or their first point of call for healthcare. For many others, it is a preferred choice because it is holistic, because it focuses on well-being, because it's aligned with nature. And now, with cutting-edge technologies like AI and genomics, we're able to create this bridge of science between the most ancient sciences and knowledge and the most modern of technologies. And recognizing this, people around the world, even though the latest WHO report on universal health coverage shows that half of the world's population, 4.6 billion people, still do not have access to essential health services. And traditional medicine provides a solution that expands people's access, expands people's choice. And with the leadership of all member states, this year, the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Strategy was adopted at the World Health Assembly. And the purpose of this summit now is to move forward to implementing the global strategy. with investment, with implementation, and for impact for the health and well-being of all people and our planet. The theme of restoring balance, it reflects what is at the heart of traditional medicine systems around the world, that it's balance within yourself, it's balance with society, and it's balance with the environment. And it seems that this resonates because balance is a sense that the world needs now more than ever. So what will we see in the summit? There is an agenda that focuses first on restoring balance and what's the science that has underpinned the science for health and well-being of people and planet. There is a session that's going to look at regulation, about how norms and standards and research are set. All WHO regions, and I'm very honored that our regional directors are here, conducted with member states research priority setting exercise on what member states need to drive this agenda forward. One statistic you will hear is that of the global health research funding, only 1% of the funding is going to traditional medicine research. And this is a huge gap we have to bridge. And we also then have sessions on integration, different models, best practices from countries on integration in health systems, as well as monitoring and charting progress across sectors to make this a reality. And we have an amazing discovery experience that many of you have contributed to. And this is really an interactive, innovative zone where you get to practice, you learn, it's an immersive experience. And we are very pleased to say that it's an opportunity to learn, to experience, to connect with one another, and that this discovery experience will become a permanent exhibition at the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar. So we hope to get all of your feedback as you go through to help co-create and shape this so that it's a global resource. We also are very excited that all countries and civil society have been making commitments on what they would do to implement the global strategy. And one example here was the first commitment that was made from Senegal in terms of setting in place a national policy, of investing in high-impact research, of regulation, and as well as with the civil society. And we look forward in the closing ceremony to celebrating these commitments. Ultimately, advancing traditional medicine is an evidence-based, ethical, and environmental imperative. And our combined global summit fosters the conditions and collaborations needed for traditional medicine to contribute at scale to the flourishing of all people and the planet we share. I thank you all. This is your summit. We were happy to support you from WHO. We thank the Government of India for the generous support and leadership for bringing us all together. Thank you all and look forward to meeting through the summit.
Thank you, Dr. Kuruvilla. We now invite from China the Vice Commissioner, National Administration of Traditional Chinese Medicine, Mr. Huang Luqi, to share his perspectives at this global summit. You may use your headsets at this point.
尊敬的谭德赛总干事、各位部长、女士们、先生们、朋友们，大家好。自此，第2届世界卫生组织传统医学全球峰会在新德里隆重召开之际，我谨代表中国国家中药管理局，向本次会议的召开表示热烈的祝贺。向主办方的周到安排致以衷心的感谢。传统医药是优秀传统文化的重要载体，在促进和中短期培训机会、 投入专项经费支持与吉尔吉斯坦、哈萨克斯坦、越南等近20个国家的联合科研项目，支持开展新时代神农尝百草行动，发起成立全球传统医学联盟，以吸纳来自中国、美国、加拿大、巴西、印度、日本等16个国家的31家创始会员单位。我们欣喜地看到，世界卫生组织多次通过传统医学决议，在RCT 11中单独设置传统医学章节，建立国际传统医学临床实验注册平台，发布2025至2034全球传统医学战略，有力促进了传统医学发展。本次峰会以重塑平衡、健康与福祉的科学与实践为主题，为各国深化理念交流、加强政策对话、推动合作共识提供了重要平台。我们愿同各方不断深化传统医药交流合作，向世界人民分享中西医结合、中西药并用的中国智慧。女士们、先生们、朋友们，传统医药是人类文明创造的成果，需要代代守护、传承精华，也需要与时俱进、守正创新。我们愿与各国同行一道，秉持全球发展、安全、文明、治理倡议的理念和愿景，深化学术互鉴，推动传统医药这个古老文明智慧结晶在新时代创新发展，为助力构建人类卫生健康共同体贡献更大力量。最后，预祝本次峰会取得圆满成功。谢谢大家。
Thank you very much, Mr. Lucci. We now turn to an important voice representing indigenous knowledge and global equity. I'm pleased to invite from Chile the member of the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, Mr. Rodrigo Eduardo Pailef Monat, to offer his remarks on this occasion.
Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, dignitaries, brothers, sisters, and friends. Mari Kompuche, good afternoon to all. I speak to you today as indigenous person, a Mapuche from the south of the world, from Chile, and representative of the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, a voice in this opening ceremony. Indigenous knowledge are not a footnote in the history of the medicine and healthcare. They are a living contribution to strong national and global health system, offering relational approaches also about effectiveness and resilience. Without a healthy mother heart, there is no medicine that can truly heal, and without indigenous custodianship, there is no continuity. When collective memory is damaged, when territories are contaminated, and biodiversity is lost, we use not only healthy forests and rivers, but also valuable knowledge, practices, and transmission. In this context, I welcome to the unique leadership of the World Health Organization and the Global Traditional Medicine Center in advancing efforts to co-create a framework for the respectful engagement of indigenous people on biodiversity, health, and traditional knowledge and medicine.
As WHO and India welcome you, this film reflects the diversity of experiences, expectations, and aspirations from around the world and reminds us why we have gathered: to listen, to learn, and to shape the global future of traditional medicine together.
How do we find balance? We find it in tradition, in practices that honor indigenous knowledge systems, offering unique perspectives on health and well-being. By bringing together centuries-old wisdom and cutting-edge science.
I think it's important that we realise that conventional and traditional medicine can go hand in hand.
Traditional medicine is not a thing of the past. There is a growing demand for traditional medicine across countries, communities, and cultures.
What we do need is to have a really strong, forward-looking, progressive way of being able to recognise the medicines of millennia.
The holding of WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine will intensify efforts to harness its potential.
The first WHO Traditional Medicine Global Summit set a baseline for action, a foundation of progress, data, and new technologies to unlock the full potential of traditional medicine. The 2025 Global Summit presents a pivotal moment to take this even further, expanding the evidence base for scientific innovations in traditional medicine. Recognizing the unrelenting instability in the world today, the summit will center around restoring balance, accelerating conversation and collaboration on topics like biodiversity protection, intellectual property rights, and the potential of AI, including the launch of the WHO Traditional Medicine Global Library. Join us as we explore how the nexus of traditional medicine and modern science can restore balance and well-being for people and our planet.
In this historic collaboration between the WHO and the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, ladies and gentlemen, we were very much looking forward to welcoming Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, the Director General of the WHO, in person this morning. We have with us Dr. Katharina Boime, Officer in charge of the WHO Southeast Asia Region Office, to introduce the video message from Dr. Tedros, who will be joining us at the closing on the 19th. So it's Dr. Katharina now.
Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, and friends. It's a pleasure to invite you now to hear from the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, who joins us today through a recorded video message, but will be, in fact, with us from tomorrow morning. His leadership has been central to positioning traditional medicine at the heart of global health. And we're grateful for his continued guidance as we open this summit. So now let's...
Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished guests, dear colleagues and friends, Namaste. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person today, but I look forward to joining you tomorrow. I thank our hosts, the Government of India, for its hospitality, partnership, and leadership in traditional medicine. And I thank all of you, healers, researchers, and policy makers, whose work sustains knowledge systems rooted in care, culture, and community. Your contributions remind us that health is not only about technology or treatment. It's also about balance, dignity, and the shared wisdom of humanity. When we gathered for the first global summit, we spoke about building bridges between science and tradition, between knowledge and lived experience, between people and planet. Today, traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine, or 2CIM, is no longer at the margins of global health. It's becoming part of its fabric, strengthening health systems and making them more people-centered and resilient. Earlier this year, the World Health Assembly adopted the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Strategy 2025-2034, a milestone that anchors TCIM within the global health agenda. The strategy focuses on 4 priorities: strengthening the evidence base so decisions are guided by science and data, ensuring safety and quality through effective regulation, integrating TCIM into national health systems, starting with primary health care, and unlocking its broader value for biodiversity, sustainability, and community well-being. But together, we hold the collective wisdom we need, from indigenous healers to community health workers, from researchers to policymakers across all regions. Either for call on governments, academia, and industry to galvanize new investments in traditional medicine, guided by science, ethics, and equity. Because health is not merely the absence of disease. It's balance of body, mind, spirit, people, and planet. Namaste. I thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Katharina and Dr. Tedros. From our member state, South Africa, I'm delighted to call upon the Honorable Minister of Health, Republic of South Africa, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, to share his thoughts.
Excellencies, my colleagues, ministers of health of the host country and from other countries, distinguished delegates, representatives of the World Health Organization, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa is honored to join the global community at this second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine. I wish to commend the World Health Organization and the Government of India for their leadership in elevating traditional medicine as an essential component of people-centered health systems. For millions across Africa, traditional medicine remains their first port of call, deeply rooted in our cultures and knowledge systems. As we pursue development of our health systems in translation, innovation, and evidence-based practice, while restoring balance between tradition, science, and the health of our people, as well as the planet. South Africa reaffirms its commitment to working with the World Health Organization and other nations to build inclusive, resilient, and sustainable health systems that leave no one behind. We look forward to constructive discussions and shared commitments that will help shape inclusive, resilient, and people-centered health systems for present and future generations. When South Africa took over the presidency of G20 universal health coverage, which I believe we are all clamoring for, I wish all delegates a very fruitful conference. Thank you very much.
सेकंड WHO ग्लोबल ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन समिट के इस अवसर पर यहाँ उपस्थित भारत के माननीय स्वास्थ्य एवं परिवार कल्याण एवं केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर मंत्री आदरणीय श्री JP नड्डा जी, माननीय स्वास्थ्य मंत्री साउथ अफ्रीका श्री अरुण मोटोसोइलेडी जी, आयुष सचिव वैद्य राजेश कोटेचा जी, WHO GTMC डायरेक्टर डॉक्टर श्यामा कुरुविल्ला जी, DG WHO के सीनियर एडवाइज़र एवं CRO के ऑफिसर इंचार्ज डॉक्टर कैथरीना बोहेम जी, दुनिया भर से आए रिस्पेक्टेड डेलीगेट्स, जाने माने साइंटिस्ट, प्रैक्टिशनर, मीडिया के मित्रों, देवी और सज्जनों, आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। देश की राजधानी नई दिल्ली में WHO और आयुष मंत्रालय भारत सरकार द्वारा होस्ट किए जा रहे ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन पर दूसरे WHO ग्लोबल समिट में मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूं। साथियों, 2 साल पहले गुजरात में हुए पहले WHO ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन समिट के दौरान वेलनेस, आज यह सिर्फ एक स्लोगन नहीं है बल्कि इस वक्त की सबसे बड़ी ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि स्वास्थ्य के प्रति हमारा नज़रिया गड़बड़ा रहा है। हमारी दिनचर्या और आहार विहार असंतुलित हो रहा है। हमें इसी संतुलन को प्रकृति के समन्वय से वापस जोड़ना होगा। साथियों, भारत के आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के कुशल नेतृत्व में हमारी परंपरागत चिकित्सा पद्धतियों के संरक्षक और सूत्रधार आयुष मंत्रालय और WHO के बीच सहयोग 2016 से शुरू हुआ था। इसका एक बड़ा नतीजा 2024 में दिल्ली में ICD-11 मॉड्यूल 2 का लॉन्च था, जो आयुर्वेद, सिद्ध और यूनानी बीमारी के कोड को ग्लोबल हेल्थ क्लासिफिकेशन में जोड़ता है। ईची पर भी काम आगे बढ़ रहा है। मुझे आप सबके साथ यह साझा करते हुए खुशी हो रही है
Ladies and gentlemen, please come back in and take your seats. It was a false alarm. There is no fire. Please be seated. We will continue with our program. So may I request you to please cooperate so that we can keep our timeline. Please come in and take your seats. The honorable ministers are joining us any minute now, and then we will resume the program. Thank you. Please settle down, ladies and gentlemen. We're continuing with the program. And in keeping with the theme, you saw that a little ruffle actually helped us to restore balance. So please be seated. We've restored balance. There was no fire. We're all safe. I'd like to call up on stage the Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ayush, Government of India, Shri Pratap Rao Ganpat Rao Jadhav, the Minister from South Africa, the Minister from South Africa, Mr. Aaron Motsoaledi, the Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Dr. Rajesh Kotecha, Dr. Shama Kuruvilla, Director AI, WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center, Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. We now have the honor of listening to the Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge for Ayush, Government of India, Shri Pratap Rao Ganpat Rao Jadhav, who will address the summit. Please be seated. Thank you.
नमस्कार। देश की राजधानी नई दिल्ली में WHO और आयुष मंत्रालय भारत सरकार द्वारा होस्ट किए जा रहे ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन पर दूसरे WHO ग्लोबल समिट में मैं आप सभी का फिर से स्वागत करता हूं। साथियों, 2 साल पहले गुजरात में हुए पहले WHO ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन समिट के दौरान हमने एक बीज बोया था। हमने उस वक्त यह घोषणा की थी कि ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन अतीत की निशानी नहीं है, बल्कि हमारे भविष्य का एक आधार है। आज 2025 में हम न सिर्फ उस विजन को साकार रूप देने के लिए, बल्कि अपने किए गए कार्यों पर चर्चा के लिए फिर से मिल रहे हैं। साथियों, हम हेल्थ केयर में एक अहम मोड़ पर है। इस समिट की थीम रिस्टोरिंग द बैलेंस, साइंस एंड प्रैक्टिस फॉर हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस। आज यह सिर्फ एक स्लोगन नहीं है, बल्कि इस वक्त की सबसे बड़ी ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि स्वास्थ्य के प्रति हमारा नज़रिया गड़बड़ा रहा है। हमारी दिनचर्या और आहार विहार असंतुलित हो रहा है। हमें इसी संतुलन को प्रकृति के समन्वय से वापस जोड़ना होगा। भारत के आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के कुशल नेतृत्व में हमारी परंपरागत चिकित्सा पद्धतियों के संरक्षक और सूत्रधार आयुष मंत्रालय और WHO के बीच सहयोग 2016 से शुरू हुआ था। इसका एक बड़ा नतीजा 2024 में दिल्ली में ICD-11 मॉड्यूल 2 का लॉन्च था, जो आयुर्वेद, सिद्ध और यूनानी बीमारी के कोड को ग्लोबल हेल्थ क्लासिफिकेशन में जोड़ता है। ईची पर भी काम आगे बढ़ रहा है। मुझे आप सबके साथ यह साझा करते हुए खुशी हो रही है कि जामनगर में WHO ग्लोबल ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन सेंटर तेजी से पूरा होने की ओर बढ़ रहा है और यह रिसर्च, इनोवेशन और ग्लोबल पॉलिसी के लिए एक वैश्विक हब के तौर पर काम करेगा। इसके अलावा अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सहयोग के लिए गए कुछ इनिशिएटिव मैं आप सबके साथ साझा करना चाहता हूं। भारत हर साल विदेशी नागरिकों को आयुर्वेद, योग, यूनानी और दूसरी सिस्टम में पढ़ाई के लिए 104 स्कॉलरशिप देता है। हमने 26 देशों के साथ MOU भी साइन किए हैं। दुनिया भर के 50 से ज़्यादा इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ सहयोग किया है। 15 यूनिवर्सिटी में आयुष चेयर बनाए हैं और 43 देशों में आयुष इंफॉर्मेशन सेल बनाए हैं। साथ मिलकर की गई रिसर्च में यूके में अश्वगंधा ट्रायल, जर्मनी में गुडुची स्टडी और लातविया में डायबिटीज़ मैनेजमेंट पर आयुर्वेद स्टडी शामिल है। अब हालात तेजी से बदल रहे हैं। हम एक ग्लोबल बदलाव देख रहे हैं जहां पुराना ज्ञान मॉडर्न साइंस के साथ हाथ मिला रहा है। हमारे आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री और दुनिया के सबसे लोकप्रिय नेता श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के गतिशील नेतृत्व में भारत ने यह दिखाया है कि परंपरा को टेक्नोलॉजी से डरने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, बल्कि टेक्नोलॉजी ही वह जरिया है जो परंपरा को पूरी दुनिया तक पहुंचाती है। हम विश्वास से आगे बढ़कर साक्ष्य तक पहुंच गए हैं। आयुष ग्रिड और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के जरिए हम सदियों पुरानी क्लासिकल किताबों को डिजिटाइज कर रहे हैं और उनसे आज के ज़माने की महामारियों के समाधान निकल रहे हैं। साथियों, यह समिट सिर्फ डेटा ही नहीं बल्कि उससे कहीं ज़्यादा है। यह हेल्थ, वेलनेस, इक्विटी और एम्पैथी के बारे में है। भारत सहित कई देशों में पारंपरिक दवा ही बचाव की पहली लाइन है, जो हमारे किचन और नेचर से शुरू होती है और यही गांव और घर में हमारा पहला भरोसेमंद डॉक्टर भी है। इन सिस्टम को स्टैंडर्ड बनाकर और क्वालिटी और सुरक्षा पक्का करके हम सिर्फ एक साइंस को वैलिडेट ही नहीं कर रहे हैं, बल्कि अरबों लोगों को मजबूत बना रहे हैं और हेल्थ को सबकी पहुंच में लाने का काम भी कर रहे हैं। हेल्थ हमारी एक साझी विरासत है। भारत की पार्टनरशिप, स्कॉलरशिप, फार्माकोपिया, रिसर्च और डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की भावना से किए जाते हैं। पूरी दुनिया हमारा परिवार है। जब अफ्रीका में कोई बच्चा सुरक्षित हर्बल फार्मूलेशन से ठीक होता है या यूरोप में कोई मरीज योग से पुराने दर्द से राहत पाता है, तो यह पूरी इंसानियत की जीत होती है। अगले 3 दिनों में जब हम साइंस ऑफ वेलबींग और प्लेनेटरी हेल्थ पर चर्चा करेंगे, तो हम सब मिलकर आगे बढ़ने का हौसला रखेंगे। आइए हम ट्रेडिशनल और मॉडर्न के बीच की दूरी को ख़त्म करें। हम एक दवा इंटीग्रेटिव मेडिसिन के बारे में बात करें जो मरीज की सेवा के लिए दुनिया के सबसे अच्छी चीज़ों का इस्तेमाल करती है। आइए हम उन बायोडायवर्सिटी की रक्षा करने का वादा करें जो हमें हमारी दवाइयाँ देती है, और हम इस मीटिंग को वह टर्निंग पॉइंट बनाएं जहां ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन को अल्टरनेटिव के तौर पर नहीं बल्कि एक मजबूत, सस्टेनेबल और ग्लोबल हेल्थ आर्किटेक्चर की नींव के तौर पर पहचाना जाए। माननीय डेलीगेट्स, भारत साइंस सबूत और इंटरनेशनल सहयोग के जरिए ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए बुलंद इरादा रखता है। इस समिट के जरिए हम सब मिलकर एक ऐसा रास्ता बनाएंगे जहां आयुष सिस्टम सभी के लिए मजबूत, बराबर और पूरी सेहत में मदद करे। वसुधैव कुटुंबकम यानी दुनिया एक परिवार है। पुनः इसी भावना को दोहराते हुए मैं आप सभी का वंदन और अभिनंदन करता हूं। जय हिंद, वंदे मातरम। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Minister Sir. I'd like to now call upon the Joint Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, Ms. Mona Lisa Dash, to please propose the vote of thanks.
Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Ayush, Sri Pratap Rao Jadavji, Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished members of the Summit Steering Committee, esteemed speakers, delegates, organizers, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, it's my honor and proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks at the conclusion of the opening ceremony of the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine. On behalf of everyone, I express my sincere gratitude to Sri Jagat Prakash Nadda ji, Honorable Union Minister, Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, for gracing the occasion as the chief guest. His visionary leadership, state-first support in strengthening healthcare systems through integrative and evidence-based approach within the country and across the global community. My heartfelt thanks to Sri Pratap Rao Jadavji, Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge Ministry for Ayush, for his inspiring address and for his continued guidance in advancing Ayush systems at national and global levels and in hosting this summit. We also thank the Honorable Ministers, His Excellency R.N. Motsaili, Minister of Health, Republic of South Africa, for sharing valuable global perspectives. I place on record our deep appreciation to Dr. Rajesh Kotecha ji, Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, for welcoming the global community and for his leadership in guiding the Ayush Government of India team towards hosting this summit in close coordination and collaboration with the WHO. We are grateful to the co-chairs of the Summit Steering Committee, Dr. Go Cheng Sun and Professor Molat Pulela Pula Motsabisa, for their stewardship and strategic guidance of this important global gathering. Our sincere thanks to Dr. Syama Kuruvela, Director, WHO, Global Traditional Medicine Center, for providing a comprehensive overview of the summit and for WHO's continued technical stewardship. I'd also like to specially acknowledge the organizers, both from Ministry of Ayush and WHO side, the media fraternity, the event management teams, technical and audiovisual teams, security and protocol officials, logistics and hospitality teams, volunteers, and all supporting staff whose behind-the-scene efforts have ensured the smooth and dignified conduct of this opening ceremony. Before we conclude, there are two special mentions. One, that is Ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is classified as a rasayana and has been traditionally used to support balance, vitality, and holistic well-being, an approach that is increasingly relevant to the global health, systems. In this context, a dedicated side event session on Ashwagandha has been planned and arranged in Plenary Hall 1 today, starting from 5 o'clock in the evening, to further discuss its quality, attributes, applications, and growing global relevance. Before I conclude, I am pleased to invite all the dignitaries and participants to join us tomorrow, that is 18th December, for the networking dinner by our Honorable Ayush Minister, Sri Pratap Rao Jadhav ji. The evening will offer an excellent opportunity for informal interaction and meaningful exchange of ideas. The program will also feature a special cultural performance by three-time Grammy Award winner, Padma Shri awardee, and United Nations Goodwill Ambassador, Mr. Ricky Cage. Once again, thank you all for your presence, cooperation, and valuable contributions. I wish you a productive and enriching summit ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. May I request the Honorable Ministers and our guests, Dr. Kuruvilla and Dr. Kotecha, to please come down and take their seats in the front row. Just an announcement for those of you, or some of you, who left your bags behind as you exited the hall a little earlier. All your bags have been deposited at the reception desk. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we quickly clear the stage for our closing program for the inaugural ceremony, we'd like to do so on a note of culture and creative expression. So please join me in welcoming Asmaniyat, performed by the acclaimed Crow Theatre Music and Dance Ensemble. What you're going to witness now, friends, is not just a performance, it is an experience that unfolds between the vastness of the cosmos and the intimacy of a single breath. Founded in 2015, Crow is a multidisciplinary art and storytelling company, a collective of dreamers, designers, and artists who transform powerful ideas into extraordinary visual and sonic journeys. Their work spans live performance, film, music, and immersive experiences, each creation inviting us to see, feel, and reflect a little deeper. So this afternoon, Crow presents Asmaniyat, a meditation on the universe, immeasurably vast, endlessly expanding, and yet astonishingly intimate. From the endless sky meeting the oceans, to stars and galaxies in celestial choreography, and down to a grain of soil, a spark, a single breath. As the elements converge, Asmaniyat traces the journey from the infinitesimal to infinity and gently asks us to locate ourselves within this cosmic wonder. So please settle down comfortably, open your senses, and journey with Crow into the boundless skies of Asmaniyat. Asmaniyat by Crow. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. That brings us to the close of this opening session of the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine. My sincere thanks go out to all our distinguished guests, leaders, speakers, artists, and partners for setting a strong and inspiring tone for the summit ahead. We are now moving on to the first plenary titled Restoring Balance, the Science and Practice of Health and Well-Being, that sets the stage for the summit's central theme, Restoring Balance. We thank the Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Shri Jadavji, for gracing the occasion. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our Honorable Minister from India, who's taking his leave. Please remain seated, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned earlier, some of you had left your bags behind as you exited the hall. We have sent all those bags to the reception desk. You may collect them from there. We're now on to our first plenary. And as soon as the stage is ready, I will be inviting up our moderator and speakers. And as I invite our speakers up and name them, may I request you all to please come up and take your seats. I don't know. Restoring Balance, the Science and Practice of Health and Well-Being. This session is moderated by Mr. Sione Tuitahi, Executive Director of the Health Promotion Forum of New Zealand and President of the International Union for Health Promotion and Education. Mr. Tuitahi, may I request you to please come up on stage? As speakers, we have Dr. Sai Mao Piukula, WHO Regional Director for the Western Pacific, Professor Motlalelipula Gilbert Matsabisa, Professor of Pharmacology and Director of Indigenous Knowledge Systems, Lead Program at the University of Free State, Ms. Rutendo Lerato Ngara, co-founder of Ancient Wisdom Africa and Ancient Wisdom Foundation, Dr. Rajesh Kotecha, Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, Professor Huang Luqi, academician of the Chinese Academy of Engineering, the Executive Vice President of China Academy of Chinese Medical Sciences, and Dr. Nicole Redvers, Associate Professor, Western Research Chair and Director of Indigenous Planetary Health at the Schoolish School of Medicine and Dentistry at Western University. Dr. Sione Tuitahi will be moderating this session. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen.
Namaste. That's very quiet. Louder and joyful. Namaste. Excellent. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, elders, and friends. It is my great honor to welcome you to plenary session 1 of the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine. The theme, Restoring Balance, the Science and Practice of Health and Well-Being. This plenary opens the technical deliberations of the summit, and its role is foundational. It sets the intellectual, ethical, and human frame for everything that follows over the next 3 days. Across civilizations and cultures, traditional medicine systems share a common understanding that health is not merely the absence of disease, but a dynamic state of balance. These imbalances did not arise by chance. They are the result of historical and structural forces: colonization, extractive development, fragmented governance, and systems that have separated human health from planetary health. Restoring balance, therefore, is not a nostalgic idea. It is aligned with the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Strategy 2025, 2034, so that balance can be translated from why imbalance has become the global norm. More importantly, why restoring balance is so urgent for global health. Balance is so urgent for global health. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Piukala.
The first plenary session for today. Excellencies, honorable ministers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, namaste and good afternoon. I know it has been a long day, and this is the first and the long day. And this is the first and the last session for today. So bear with us for the next few minutes. Today we begin the technical segment of this summit by reflecting on a timeless aspiration: balance. Balance within our bodies, within our societies, and between humanity and the planet. For centuries across civilization and in the Pacific, where I come from, traditional medicine has taught us that health and well-being are rooted. Yet, in this era of extraordinary scientific progress, access to health, and who does not? In which knowledge is celebrated and which is dismissed. In the depletion of biodiversity, even as we pledge to protect it, and in how indigenous communities, guardians of ancient wisdom, often benefit least from the knowledge they have preserved for generations. The imbalances are not random. They are the legacy of centuries of colonization, industrialization, and extractive systems that have reshaped ecosystems and knowledge, leaving inequities that persist today. To restore balance, we must confront these roots of inequity in governance, in access, in knowledge, and in power. We need a renewed vision of health that is holistic, inclusive, and grounded in respect. A vision where traditional medicine and modern science work hand in hand, not in competition, but in partnership for a shared purpose. Parent is not static. It is a dynamic process, a process we cultivate through collaboration, humility, and collective responsibility. This is why countries and partners are calling for coordinated global action, including a global consortium on traditional medicine. Why? To strengthen evidence, protect traditional knowledge, and advance knowledge and nature. Restoring that balance is our challenge and our opportunity, not only in the world around us, but within ourselves. For as the saying goes, if you restore balance in your own self, you will be contributing immensely to the healing of
Ayush to share India's experience of Ayurveda and its leadership in integration, evidence, and biodiversity stewardship. Please join me in welcoming
Excellencies, distinguished colleagues and friends. Namaste and good evening to you all. I sincerely thank all of you that Unani, Siddha, Sovarikpa, homeopathy, yoga, naturopathy. Over the last decade, traditional medicine in India has witnessed transformative reforms in education, research, global engagement, and industrial development under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi. Support for this program grew by almost more than 10 times in 10 years. We also have International Day of Yoga. It has now become a people's movement of healthy living across the globe. We also have an establishment of National Commission of Indian Medicine and National Commission of Homeopathy for regulatory development and innovative approach into area of education. We also have regulatory reform for Ayush drugs and strengthening of Ayush drug regulatory. I am happy to inform that National Sample Survey of 22-23 conducted by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Government of India, indicates that awareness of traditional medicine has reached to 96% of Indian population. That is very huge. Friends, India's Ayush initiatives have expanded globally through strong partnerships with multiple country and industrial MOUs and Ayush information sales in India's leadership in integrative medicine. Another key focus is integrating Ayush into mainstream health through patient-centered models. All India Institute of Ayurveda has led this by establishing Ayush wellness centers at major institutions, while Ayush wings now exist in all India Institute of Medical Sciences and departments are being incorporated in new aims, enabling systematic collaboration with conventional medicine. Integrative care models operate in tertiary hospitals and specialized institutions like the National Cancer Institute, NIMHANS, Bengaluru for mental health. At the primary care level, over 9,800 facilities and 10,000 plus Ayush doctors provide co-located services under the National Health Mission, including the Ayushman Arogya Mandis for yoga and preventive wellness. Further, the governance is strengthened through the Ayush vertical under the Directorate General of Health Services, providing planning, standards, treatment guidelines, and public health advisories to enhance integration and service quality. Friends, laboratory practice GLP dossiers for 5 botanicals, that is Ashwagandha, Brahmi, Shallaki, Sunthi, and Methika, and positioning them for global markets and international recognition. Together, these initiatives advance evidence generation, promote ethical research, and strengthen the integration of traditional medicine into national and global healthcare. Now, coming on evidence generation and integration, research in Ayush systems is being strengthened through a wide network of Center of Excellencies. We also have partnership with DST, DBT, and CSIR. Further, I want to impress and appraise that with Mission Utkarsh, we are having a large-scale observational trial on over 79,000 adolescent girls through Poshan Tracker for anemia intervention of traditional medicine. The same candidate we are studying with ICMR on more than 3,000 this August, gathering that the recently released guidelines for processing patent applications related to Ayush systems are a strong example of the Government of India's commitment to promoting innovation in Ayush. For millennia, Ayurveda has viewed health as balanced summa between body and mind, individual and environment, and human activity and nature, guiding prevention-focused long-term care, which is especially vital, links human, animal, and especially vital, links human, animal, and environmental well-being, promoting cross-sector collaboration in disease surveillance, antimicrobial resistance, zoonotic disease prevention, and environmental health. It reinforces Ayurveda's principles of Lokaha Purusha Samya, that human well-being is inseparable from the environment and all living beings, and aligns with the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Strategy 25 to 34. At last, friends, restoring balance at a planetary scale requires collective action, and to achieve this, we need balance. For bridge traditional and modern medicine through strong research and validation. Traditional and modern medicine through strong research and validation. Advance that India hosts the estimated 7,000 plus medicinal plant species used in traditional healthcare, many of which occur in forest and biosafety hotspots such as the Western Ghats and Eastern Himalayas. Recognizing this, India emphasizes biodiversity stewardship with National Medicine Plant Board, leading conservation, cultivation, trade, and global collaboration through national schemes. Friends, traditional medicine to global health. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Your remarks highlight how ancient systems of
to global health. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Your remarks highlight how ancient systems of knowledge can be strengthened through governance, science, and policy. Thank you. So building on this, we now turn to China's experience in integrating traditional medicine with national health systems and
我想这个平衡应该从如何在现代生命科学的浪潮中能够有一个有序的能够一个健康的发展。在此呢，我想跟大家分享我们国家习近平主席对中医中药、对传统医药他的一些论述。我们国家习近平主席认为，传统医药是人类文明创造的成果，需要的话互学互鉴，需要的话代代守护、传承精华，也需要的话与时俱进，守正创新。中国在促进中药发展中的一些做法和成效，也就是说，跟现代的医学如何的话和谐的、健康的、融合的发展。首先是中药的发展的政策法规体系日趋完善，中国构建起符合中药特点的政策法规体系，颁布了中药法，制定了一系列促进中药事业和产业高质量发展的政策举措。中药发展的7亿人次， 占7亿人次，占全国总诊疗人次的20%左右。3是中药的传承和科技创新加快推进，建成了以13个全国重点实验室、46个国家中药传承创新中心等为引领的中药科技创新体系，在中药的基础理论研究、常见生产的中成药总产值达到了8000亿元，占医药产业规模已超过1/4。6是对外交流与合作成果丰硕。世界卫生组织总干事谭德赛博士在新冠疫情期间，专门会见了中药代表团，促成世界卫生组织召开中药独特的理论体系、丰富的实践经验和深厚的文化底蕴，绽放出越发璀璨的时代光芒。随着传统医学对初级卫生保健全面现代科学的技术、实验方法、仪器设备，在传统医药的理论创新、技术攻关、药物研发上取得新的更大的突破。3是促进各国传统医药的共同发展，为配合世界卫生组织实施全球传统医学战略，应对新时代机遇与挑战，中国已发起成立全球传统医学联盟。我们欢迎世卫组织等国际组织积极参与联盟的相关工作，赋能联盟发挥作用，共同推动实施全球传统医学战略，助力构建人类卫生健康共同体。欢迎更多有意愿的国家、国际组织及传统医学团体加。
I now invite Professor Motlalipula Matsabisa to speak on African leadership in science, scientific validation, research networks, and equitable partnerships. Please join me in welcoming Professor Matsabisa.
Thank you so much, Tuhi, for that, and thanks to everybody. I think before I start, I want to borrow something from Shaima. And what I want to borrow from Shaima is our ancestors left. Medicines is being used for preventative. It's being used, I think, for a number of managing many other diseases. But more importantly, we know that a majority of the countries in this world, I think at the time, 170 out of in this world, I think at the time, 170 out of 100 is an economic driver at the community level. It is the economic driver, at national levels, but also more importantly, it is involved of the currently known human diseases. For heart failure, we talk about aspirin. They've really stood the test of time. They have been discovered, they're still being used. And this globe, this inheritance that we have, has about 360,000 plants. But only less than 10% of those plants have been well researched. So we still have a long way to go. But it gives us, I think, the momentum to say and I will not talk more about South Africa because that's where the highest endemicity of plants, which therefore means the plants that you find in Africa, you cannot find them anywhere else. So what is the challenge and what is the problem? I think one of the biggest challenges that we had is university teaching that we have, people to get into traditional medicine, they have to be anointed, and it is certain people that can only, I think, get into African traditional medicine. There is little or no documentation. It has been word of mouth, and the philosophies of Africa to document. But also I think there are policies to document. But also I think there are policies, challenges. Africa, with its many countries, has got many varied policies that do not talk to each other. And these policies are fragmented, and there's no coordination. there is no funding for research. I think, we were told earlier this morning that less than 1% of funding goes into traditional medicines research, and Africa is no different. And then we talk about what are the incentives that we should have to bring in our traditional knowledge holders, our traditional healers, to collaborate and work with us, and we begin to understand traditional African medicines. And therefore, there is a need for that training preparedness. But then how then can we address the challenges? One of the issues is we need to begin to think about developing policies that are people-centered. We begin to write policies that could then be communicated as policies. It cannot be the other way around. We need to get, I think, the research done so that then we can advise in the influencing of policies, but more importantly then we begin to talk about developing, I think, structured curriculum at our university level at how then do we begin, to take all these two diverse policies and make them into regulations that can cross-pollinate amongst the countries in Africa. Also, we're talking about how then does WHO, through, I think it's GTMC, work with establishing regional to look at, traditional medicines. I think in conclusion, Chair, to look at, traditional medicines. I think in conclusion, Chair, we're saying we need to begin to have serious documentation, but that documentation needs to be an inclusive documentation with the knowledge holders. Knowledge holders have continued doing the research. It may not be the research that we understand, but the research has been done, and therefore, how then do we bring that knowledge as part of the evidence to take us forward? And therefore, this then looks at how then do we co-safety, efficacy, and quality, but also more importantly, for these products should be then to the consumers and the patients. But also, lastly, we need to have this community impact, and that community impact has to be this community impact, and that community impact has to be through accessible health systems.
Giving this here after you've invited them.
Thank you, Professor Matsabisa. I now invite Ms. Rutendo Ngara, Elder and Guardian of Ancestral African Knowledge, to please deliver your address. Please put your hands together, welcoming Ms. Ngara.
Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, elders, ladies and gentlemen, today's global imbalance in health, knowledge, and planetary systems emerges from historical shifts in time, nature, the body, and knowledge, and how these have been understood, combined, as we have heard, with colonialization, individual health with family, community, ancestors, land, elements, time, the cosmos, as we saw, paradigms. It is first ontological, and only then is it clinical. So this calls for transdisciplinary approaches capable of working across cosmological, ecological, and clinical dimensions together. Because according to Indigenous cosmology, all is interconnected, all is interdependent, and all is interrelated. So what caused this rupture? From the 13th to the 17th centuries, shifts in science and technology symbolized by the mechanical clock transformed time into a linear, commodified resource, displacing the relational and cyclical understanding of time's primary source of health support. This can be seen as violence. Now, Galtung identified three, because health is understood as a continuum linking body, language, community, land, water, and climate. Safeguarding health, including sciences, challenge the linear mechanistic models, emphasizing relationality, emergence, complexity. These resonances create bridges for dialogue between Indigenous medical sciences and biomedicine, supporting collaboration without custodianship. Knowledge is governed and shared. This aligns directly with the WHO commitments to Indigenous peoples' rights to their medical practice, medicinal biodiversity, traditional knowledge, intellectual property, and fair benefit sharing. So, to restore balance requires aligning the governance of traditional knowledge, community testimony, cosmology, and long-term ecological outcomes. So, in conclusion, restoring balance in the science and practice of well-being means addressing the physiological, the temporal, the linguistic, the epistemic, and planetary dimensions altogether. This requires a shift from commodified to relational time, from war metaphors to...
Thank you, Ms. Ngara, for that powerful reminder, our responsibility and guardianship. So to complete...
We all have a heart, we all have a lungs, we all have a heart, we all have a lungs, we all have the same parts. Salotina, all my relatives. I come from Deninukwe First Nation, which is Dene peoples in the subarctic region of Canada. Come from the land of snow and ice, as well as the land of the midnight sun. Within our own health and well-being, in relation to all others around, within our own health and well-being, in relation to all others around us. These natural laws, these first laws that we're all bound by, no matter where we are on the planet, informs our Indigenous traditional knowledges, which are operationalized through traditional protocols or guidelines. Here today are about 60% water, give or take. Our bodies are renewed about every 3 months or so on average as our cells turn over, with our bone cells taking a little longer than our gastric cells. So if you've been in Delhi here for about 3 months, 60% of your body here is the Yamuna River coming from... You can't be healthy. You can't be healthy. If the water's healthy, it's a physiological reality. Our traditional medicines are not just plants, they're not full. It is cosmocentric, it is eco. We are in and of itself nature. And if we get away from that, we're going to repeat the mistakes of biomedicine, which contributes 5%, is absolutely critical. Sister noted the free prior informed consent, the importance of data sovereignty, the importance of hearing co-development, yet I rarely see it in practice. So we need to understand and move along this continuum from contractual, consultative, collaborative approaches to ensuring collegial and Indigenous-led approaches within the space. Indigenous knowledge holders are some of the highest.
And before I reflect to wrap up our session, it is my honor again to invite the chair of the session, Dr. Sayama Upiukala, to offer a short synthesis, bridging the experts' insights and the reflections they we've heard, and to wrap up our session. Please welcome back Dr. Upiukala.
Yeah. Building bridges across disciplines, cultures, and worldview. Tomorrow's action. Action that transforms lives, strengthens communities, and safeguards the health of our planet. And I want to thank you once again for your passion, engagement, and unwavering commitment to this shared journey. Thank you all for joining us today. And I wish you
justice and respect for diverse knowledge systems. We have heard that justice and respect for diverse knowledge systems. We have heard that imbalance persists in access, in governance, in whose knowledge is and move forward and address all the imbalances that we have had today. Thank you all for your engagement and I wish you a deeply enriched continuation with the summit. Thank you again.
A round of applause, which is louder, ladies and gentlemen, for our panel up here. Just a couple of announcements before we all break out into the parallel sessions. We're going to have tea and refreshments available for you outside, which will be only for 15 minutes. So please be back in 15 minutes to this hall in case you want to attend the Ashwagandha side event that is planned for this hall. That will begin from here, the plenary, until 7. We've got the parallel sessions in this track going on in the assigned halls. Please consult your agendas for the details. At 7, you're invited to visit the Traditional Medicine Discovery Expo, an immersive journey across 4 zones where ancient wisdom...
Thank you so much. Sorry, colleagues, thank you so much. Sorry, colleagues, I've just been asked by the Afro office, somewhere outside. Oh, there he is. Can all the African delegates just meet outside here quickly as we go out? Thank you so much.
At 5:40, we will start the Ashwagandha session in the plenary hall. We will start the Ashwagandha session in the plenary hall. The parallel session.
Now I request the stage managers please arrange the stage for our technical session. Now I request the stage managers please arrange the stage for our technical session. Of the game. Now I request the stage managers please arrange the stage.
So let me first introduce our first speaker, Dr. Roy. Dr. Roy is a president for American Herbal Pharmacopoeia. In fact, he has dedicated his life to the herbs. He has published some of the very authentic monographs, pharmacopoeia, which globally are respected. He himself is actually, on traditional medicine. A global perspective he has is unbelievable. Not only Indian, Chinese, Caribbean, American, I don't know what, but he has an amazing, experience and exposure to these traditional medicine. And a big well-wisher to Ashwagandha. I've shared a stage with Roy earlier as well. Fantastic, his insight into Ashwagandha and its global role. He's recipient of many awards. He's basically advisor to many companies. He worked with various government and non-government agencies. So may I invite Dr. Roy, please take your presentation.
First, I want to thank the organizers for allowing me to come and present on Ashwagandha. By training, I'm a traditional herbalist. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a pharmacologist, I'm a traditional herbalist. And that's the perspective that I come from. Less of a commercial perspective and more of a what's in the best interest of patients. That's my perspective. So the first, we all know the history of Ashwagandha. It's one of the single most important botanicals in Ayurveda. But that means it's one of the single most important botanicals on the face of the planet. Ayurveda is the oldest living system of medicine on Earth. And when you have an herb like Ashwagandha, has its highest respect in that system, that means it is one of the most important botanicals for human health on the planet, and one of the oldest used. What you may not know, that Ashwagandha was introduced into the United States probably by early Indian immigrants into the U.S. in the late 1840s. It never became a big issue or a big item of trade within the herbal profession or within the medical profession. But there were journal articles in the American Journal of Pharmacy in 1845 talking about its use primarily for respiratory disorders, but even stating that it succeeded where many of our current drugs failed. And that's a testament also to the use of it by Western medical practitioners, at least in the late 1800s. Now in 2000, we recognized, the American Herbal Pharmacopoeia recognized the importance of ashwagandha in the world of herbal medicine. And it was the first monograph that we produced on Ayurvedic botanical ashwagandha. And each AHP monograph covers the herb, everything from historical use, botanical identification, macroscopic, microscopic, chemical characterization, and then a full therapeutic and safety review. This is currently under revision now, and it'll be released in the first quarter of 2026. Now, a couple of things from a market perspective. Ashwagandha in 2018 was ranked 34 of the top best-selling botanicals in the U.S. market, and it steadily increased from there. And from 2021 to 2023, it's now regarded as the fourth best-selling single botanical in the American market. You have to understand the importance of that. The fourth best-selling botanical in the American market, and the American market, which you may or may not know, is very hostile to natural products. As the good professor said, we regulate herbal products as supplements, not as medicines. There's tremendous regulatory pressures against natural medicines and against the practice of natural medicine. Ayurveda is not legally practiced anywhere in the United States as a medical practice. You can only practice as a Ayurvedic health consultant, not as an Ayurvedic medicine practitioner. So you have this tremendous growth of a botanical within a regulatory framework and a medical framework that's hostile to botanical drugs. So this is a testament to the importance of ashwagandha in the world market. Now, what are some of the reasons for the growth of this? In 2008, we had a tremendous financial crash in the United States mostly, but throughout most of the world. From 2008 on, prior to 2008, consumers weren't interested in botanicals that had a tonifying effect, a general effect on improving general well-being, immune health, energy levels, stress, things like that. After 2008, consumers started telling us that they couldn't afford to be sick. And so they started reaching for the tonics. And one of the primary tonics that they reached for general health was ashwagandha. At the same time period, from 2008 till current times, a number of companies, leading companies with leading ashwagandha products, have done a tremendous amount of marketing, educating consumers and health professionals about the benefits of ashwagandha. And virtually every company that's selling herbal products has incorporated ashwagandha into their formulations, either as selling it either as a single ingredient or as part of other formulations. Now, we also should look at why consumers, at least in the United States, but this is also relevant globally, why are they using supplements? And surveys tell us that they're primarily using supplements to stay healthy, for longevity, and for family well-being, to prevent wellness and enhance health. So none of these are disease endpoints. They're all wellness-based and health-based endpoints. This is also shows the importance of ashwagandha in global health. Western medicine does not have a single drug for promoting wellness. I take that back. Maybe Viagra might promote wellness in some. But for the most part, there are no pharmaceutical medications that promote health and wellness. They're all used for specific disease endpoints. And while ashwagandha can be used for specific disease endpoints, arthritis, even in some cases obesity or stress, insomnia, its primary function, at least from a traditional Ayurvedic perspective, was as a rasayana, to promote health and longevity. And this does not exist either as a medicine or a concept in Western medical thinking. So this has a great potential for global health. Now that we see the global market, or at least the U.S. market for herbal products, has been growing for the last 2 decades, and it's projected to continue to grow at double-digit growth until 2035. And this is also relevant globally. globally we see the herbal medicine market, interest in herbal medicine growing. Why? There's a number of reasons why this happens. But one of the primary reasons is because of the limitations that people are recognizing with Western medicine. Again, Western medicine is focused on the suppression of symptoms and the management and treatment of diseases, not the promotion of health and wellness. Those are two completely different concepts, and we really don't have this. And I must speak from a US-centric perspective. We don't have that conceptually in Western medicine. It's all about treating disease. The other aspect of herbal supplement use is the expense. Herbal medicines tend to be less expensive and more accessible than conventional drugs. However, we have to pay for those out of pocket. They're not covered under insurance reimbursement programs. And if that ever did happen, then the potential growth for herbs in general and ashwagandha specifically is magnitudes higher than this. If it ever gets acceptance as a drug in any Western country, all of a sudden the numbers start to quadruple or 100 times more than current sales. And I actually would recommend that Ayush and the companies involved with ashwagandha take serious note of this. Because if we could get ashwagandha approved for a wellness-specific endpoint, whether it was relieving menopausal symptoms and hot flashes in women, or improving stress or improving sleep, and we got that approved as a botanical drug in the United States, ashwagandha, the potential for growth is, you can't calculate it right now. Most people here know what the benefits of ashwagandha is more than me. But mostly in the United States, we're looking at it as an adaptogenic tonic for the alleviation of stress, alleviation of anxiety, reduction of anxiety, sleep and insomnia, and even athletic performance. But one of the primary uses in India, I'm told, and among cancer patients in the US, is adjunctive care for cancer patients. And this is an area that I believe herbal medicine has a great amount to offer. Again, Western medical therapies for cancer are about killing and attacking the cancer, not actually promoting health, not actually improving immune function so then the body actually fights the cancer itself. This fills a void in conventional cancer therapy that again does not exist in Western therapies. We're only focused on killing cancer. Many years ago, I went to the director of the National Cancer Institute and said, are you doing any research on herbs that enhance immune function or actually mobilize anti-cancer mechanisms in the body? He says, we don't really care about that. This was the director of the National Cancer Institute. He says, we don't really care about that. We're looking for hammers to kill the cancer. They weren't concerned about the health of the patient. And this is a flaw and a deficiency of Western medical thinking, which then guides Western medical research and then guides industry as to what's going to be produced or what's going to be approved. And this is a place, again, where herbal medicine, Ayurveda, and specifically ashwagandha has a position to fill, has a void to fill. Now, what are the consequences of only focusing on Western medicine? Again, speaking from an American's perspective, what you may not know is that among all industrialized developed nations, the U.S. in all metrics of healthcare are behind virtually every other similarly developed country. In all metrics of health, infant mortality, maternal mortality, childhood obesity, obesity in general, arthritis, cancer, heart disease, we are behind virtually every similarly developed nation in all metrics of health, according to the World Health Organization. This is appalling, and it's been like this for 20 to 30 years that I've been looking at these statistics. And one of the reasons I believe is because we don't give focus on wellness, we only give focus to disease care. Now, in the first Global Summit of Traditional Medicine in 2023, we recognize that literally the majority of the world's populations relies on traditional medicine knowledge, and that 85% of the illnesses that we suffer from today are illnesses of behavior, of lifestyle, of stress, of all the things that ashwagandha actually can be beneficial for. We did, on the WHO 3, emphasize that we needed scientific rigor in traditional medicine. But I will also say that we need Western medical thinkers to become knowledgeable about traditional medicine knowledge. Traditional medicine knowledge is not secondary knowledge. It's not a secondary form of medicine. They should be equally respected and equally researched and equally integrated. While Ayurvedic practitioners in the US and here have to learn about Western science, Western medical doctors should be required to learn about the basic principles of Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, herbal medicine, nutrition, lifestyle medicine. And until that changes, we'll continue to chase diseases and not promote health. And why do we do this in the US? There's tremendous skepticism about herbal medicine. Are they safe? What are the side effects? What are their potential for interactions? What about their use in pregnancy? All of these are legitimate concerns. There's also been concern about quality of herbal products, specifically Ayurvedic products, associated with the presence of metal basmans that then get identified as contaminated with lead or mercury or aluminum or whatever number of metals that might be used. This is a place where Ayush and the Ayurvedic community have to make a stronger case for the traditional use of well-prepared basmas to eliminate some of these concerns. There's also misconceptions at the highest level of medical authorities in the U.S. If you go to the National Institutes of Health page today and read their description of Ayurveda, this is what they say, that some Ayurvedic preparations may contain lead, mercury, or arsenic in amounts that can be toxic. A few studies suggest that Ayurveda is helpful. Do we see the problem with this? This is the National Institutes of Health, which is probably one of the most respected medical authorities on the planet, and they know nothing about Ayurveda. And this is what's being published by these medical authorities. And this is another area where I believe Ayush has to change. There are specific challenges for ashwagandha, as was mentioned, root versus leaf, potential toxicity of root versus leaf or leaf versus root. But many times extracts are made and they don't properly disclose the presence of leaf. So people are buying the product thinking that it's root only. And so this has to be cleared up and clarified in the market. And there's also been health concerns raised, especially in the European Union, but it's spilling over into the United States and Canada as well, with regards to potential side effects of hepatotoxicity and abortifacient activity. And they even referenced one of our documents, our monograph, in stating that it may be an abortifacient. But in our monograph, we said, this reference said that it may be an abortifacient, but we have no evidence that it's an abortifacient. And as of in recent years, we re-reviewed all of the traditional data and found no support whatsoever on the use of ashwagandha as a abortifacient. With regards to recently, actually just last week, there was another paper published out of the University of Arkansas that followed very formal principles for assessing toxicity and abortifacient activity in ashwagandha and found no evidence of either hepatotoxicity or abortifacient activity. And Ayush rightfully responded to this with the safety dossier that they produced when these reports of hepatotoxicity and abortifacient activity came out. And this is what we as an Ayurvedic community have to do. Now, in ending, I want to give a recommendation on what I feel would be one of the most important things that we could do to promote Ayurveda globally. Ayurveda, as I said, is the oldest system of healthcare on earth, and with this combination of herbal medicine, unique diagnostic criteria, Ashwagandha, Panchakarma treatment, Shirodhara, sustainable harvesting of herbal medicines, this has a tremendous amount to offer the rest of the world, especially in the West. Chinese medicine, we should take the lesson from Chinese medicine, where they specifically took acupuncture and introduced that to the West. And within 20 years, Chinese medicine spread all over the globe. Not as a full system of medicine, but only as a single modality. I believe we could do the same thing with an herb like ashwagandha by getting approval in Western countries, and therapies like Panchakarma to use that as the way to introduce Ayurveda to the Western world. Everybody wants wellness. Every yoga clinic, every physical therapy clinic would want Panchakarma. Anybody dealing with mental health issues would want Shirodhara. These were things that would be easy for the West to accept, where they may not be able to accept all of what Ayurveda has to offer. But if we start with an herb like ashwagandha or therapies like Panchakarma, I believe we can get our foot in the door in the same exact way that Chinese medicine spread throughout the world. Same thing could be done with Korean ginseng. And the World Ashwagandha Council, which was formed in 2023, has the potential to do some of this work, and I encourage you to continue. Again, our Ashwagandha monograph through American Herbal Pharmacopoeia will be published at the first quarter of 2026, a complete revision where we'll address all the issues of hepatotoxicity, thyroid toxicity, abortifacient activity, and address some of the primary quality issues associated with ashwagandha that are causing problems worldwide. I would welcome you to visit our website of our Botanical Adulterations Prevention Program, which we have with the American Botanical Council and University of Mississippi, represented by Professor Khan here. All of our information is freely available to the world. You just need to register. We have a botanical adulteration bulletin specifically on ashwagandha, and we recently released a laboratory guidance document on ashwagandha, freely available to the public. Last thing, I'll just end with a recently deceased board member of AHP had this to say about Ayush. We greatly appreciate the fact that India recognizes Ayurveda as a national treasure. In the United States, there are no government agencies that promote traditional medicine, and the very existence of the Department of Ayush is one of the ways that the U.S. needs to emulate our Indian friends and colleagues. That from Michael McGuffey. And I think that's a clear message for the rest of the world. And I thank you for your attention, and I am open to questions. And please, if you want to reach out, here's my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roy. I think it's a great insight about U.S. The opportunities in U.S., about challenges, about concerns. Great insight. What is mind-boggling is that the kind of growth figure he showed, 2018, something which was $7 million export out of India, grew to 120 million by 2023. So you see roughly like 213% CAGR. Every year we are doubling the market. Are we really seeing this as a $1 billion product? Huge opportunities. Opportunities because healthcare system in US is more emergency catered, more for the rare diseases. What about integrated health system? I think that's where he spoke about. Wonderful insight, concerns, very genuine concerns. Great science we need to do to cater the need of the Western minds as well, Western regulators as well. And you really narrated all these requirements very good. public health from Finland. And then she joined a company. That company is Medfi. This company is actually providing great insight in European markets about the regulatory requirements, about the scientific requirements, and understanding the need of the different producers and connecting them with the market and the regulators. And great network they have. She's heading the food and feed division of this company. Her experience, believe me, I had personal interactions with her. Great insights she has about the market and herbal products and the herbal products, the challenges they face in European countries. She has a great networking and working experience with EFSA, which is a regulator for the food safety in Europe. So it would be really wonderful to know something about all these challenges from Mari. Mari, it's all yours. Can you hear us, Mari? Are you on mute? Are you on mute?
I'm Arina, and I come from Spain. At our company, we have our international clients, the food and feed regulatory efforts projects in Europe and the US. During last year, we have been working with Ashwagandha. For that reason, I'm well aware of Ashwagandha popularity and also regulatory challenges with handling representation. Being here today is a great honor and I would like to thank the food and feed clients for the invitation to provide the presentation today. European agriculture has been on the rise as part of a broad trend towards natural and adapted food supplements. Marketing reports indicate steadily growing European market, and Europe is one of the key regions in growth, together with the goals, as we just heard from Dr. Roy. The market for Britannia somnifera root products in Europe has expanded due to consumer interest in stress management, sleep, and cognitive well-being. And what is very nice is that there are several on-hold health claims on these areas, and these can be used in marketing of ashwagandha food supplements and foods in the EU. I would like to tell you a few words about EU legislation so that you can understand where we are. The EU is a supranational political and economic union consisting of 27 member states. Most of the EU legislation apply as such in member states as regulations. But part of the legislation is in the form of directives. For example, there is a food supplement directive. It means that each member state has implemented these directives into their national law. And in that context, there is a possibility to have slightly different national rules. In addition to the EU regulations and directives, there are also some additional national rules which each member state can have been created. I'd also like to mention that each member state has their own national list for medical substances. So it basically means that the botanical, for example, used in food supplements can be considered in one member, but as food in another member state. Ashwagandha products are sold in various food supplements in the form of pills, tablets, capsules, powders, and so on, in dosage form. But they are also sold in fortified foods like cereals, different types of beverages, for example, energy drinks, and so on. And the regulatory status of ashwagandha, sorry, I'm late in my slides. Yes, so the regulatory status of ashwagandha is a bit different in food supplements compared to conventional foods in the EU. So in food supplements, all plant parts of ashwagandha are considered as traditional ingredients. So it covers fruit, leaves, and other aerial parts like stems. And when the ingredient is a traditional, it means that it can just be launched to the market without any pre-market authorization. But when we talk about conventional foods, for example, cereals, so in those, only ashwagandha, non-concentrated aqueous infusion from the roots is considered as a traditional ingredient. Whereas other forms, for example, ethanol extraction and so on, or any part of other ashwagandha plant parts could be considered as a novel food. If there is the history of the period prior to 1997 in the European Union, then the food is not a novel food. But if there is not, then the regulatory status can be a novel food. And because most of the ashwagandha products, especially those sold in food supplements, are considered as traditional food, it means that ashwagandha is currently approved by the next legislation, which you can list it here. So general food law requires that all food has to be safe, and it is the responsibility of the food business operator to guarantee the safety. Then there is this Food Supplement Directive, which I already mentioned, and it, for example, regulates how to label the food supplements. Then there is the regulation of the addition of vitamins and minerals and of certain other substances like ashwagandha to foods. I call this as a fortification regulation. In addition to the rules in the EU, there are also EU-level guidelines how to evaluate the safety of traditional food products. For example, there is the EFSA Compendium of Botanicals. It's an open-source database of plant species that are reported to contain naturally occurring substances of potential concern for human and animal health. And regarding ashwagandha, I checked this Compendium of Botanicals and found out that potential hazardous substances mentioned of ashwagandha are alkaloids and metabolites. It means that those should be considered when evaluating the safety. But we must remember that this compendium is not comprehensive. Then there is EFSA guidance for safety assessment on botanicals and botanical preparations. But unfortunately, it's very old. It's already for 16 years old. And for that reason, also, it doesn't anymore follow the EFSA criteria for safety evaluation. And also for that reason, it's now under revision, and we are expecting this new revised version to be published at late 2027. Anyway, there is no comprehensive guideline for safety assessment of traditional foods, like, for example, for novel foods. And for that reason, the updated novel food guidance